In 2002, Diane assisted in the establishment of the New South Wales Intensive Care Coordination and Monitoring Unit. Last year, following the announcement of a successful vendor, she was seconded to the New South Wales Intensive Care Clinical Information System program as the Communications and Engagement Manager to facilitate engagement between the program and the ICU clinicians. We look forward to your presentation, Diane.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here this afternoon. And as mentioned today, I'm going to be talking about the Intensive Care Clinical Information System, ICCIS, and we were here before the other guys, and in particular, the performance of the team. I'd like to start by acknowledging my co-authors, Teresa Jakes, Rand Butcher, Brett Abenbrook, Leonie Weisbrot, Tess Della Giacomo, and David Gaddis. Okay. ICCIS is actually a collaborative involving members from the Agency for Clinical Innovation, or ACI, eHealth New South Wales, and our vendor, IMD Soft. This structure is actually a breakaway from past New South Wales health IT implementations, where previously clinical and user consultation and engagement was limited with programs driven almost entirely by IT teams. In particular, the ACI, New South Wales lead clinical agency for promoting innovation and implementing new models of care in health, is invested in ICCIS through the Intensive Care Services Network, in here, the Intensive Care Coordination and Monitoring Unit, ICMU, the ICCIS Clinical Working Group, and the subject matter expert groups. eHealth, over on this side, is responsible for the program management and delivery of statewide integrated IT and technical programs which include ICCIS. Success in the delivery of the ICCIS solution hinges on committed leadership. This has been provided by the ICCIS Steering Committee and the operational management groups, strong collaboration between the two agencies and the vendor, motivated clinical engagement, and responsive, transparent communication processes. ICU clinicians have been invested in ICCIS from the beginning. Envisaged by Blacktown ICU Director Dr Graham Rees and supported by the Intensive Care Task Force, the business case was first developed in 2006. Treasury approved funding in 2010 and was followed by the international release for tender in 2011. Evaluation, procurement, contract negotiations and the implementation planning study occurred during 2012-2013 and design and build of the actual solution started in June this year. At present, our first go-live is scheduled for the end of 2015 with staged deployments to other units to commence in 2016. Incorporating 986 beds across New South Wales, ICCIS is the largest program of its type ever undertaken globally. There is no denying that deploying this program into 53 adult, paediatric and neonatal units across 49 hospitals and 16 local health districts, or LHDs, and successfully engaging all stakeholders, ICU clinicians, non-ICU clinicians, administration, management, executive, IT and biomedical, and then integrating and interfacing with existing LHD and hospital systems and networks and equipment is both complex in using resources and time. High team performance is going to be essential. The ICCIS program has always recognised the criticality of ICU clinician expertise in developing the New South Wales ICU business requirements for ICCIS. A proactive communications and engagement plan is necessary. It incorporates cyclical, reliable, relevant and transparent communications that are positive, driven by stakeholder need and encourages feedback. Within the team, those same communication principles are also essential. And with a team of 45 ICCIS program members and 70 clinical specialists, believe me, there's an awful lot of communication. The quality of the pictures, because most of these have been taken by iPhones as we go around through the weeks. Multiple training days have been held for our clinicians. Objectives have included developing a statewide focus, establishing team relationships and introducing the MetaVision software product on which ICCIS will be built. Daily stand-ups are held in the engine room for the design and build. These are short, targeted meetings where members highlight what they have completed yesterday, what is to be done today, and issues that might need to be addressed. At the end of week, WebEx demonstrations of the build's progress are held, where adult, paediatric and neonatal ICU clinicians are shown the work that has been completed and are asked for comments and feedback. Engine room members undertake end-of-cycle reviews and debriefs with feedback opportunities. What has made them happy or worked well? What has made them sad or not work so well? What has puzzled them? And what suggestions are there for how it could be done better? Fortnightly program team meetings allow the technical stream, the design and build stream, the change delivery and adoption stream, the comms team and the project management streams to discuss the program and, at the moment, particularly the progress of the build cycles. Maintaining high clinical involvement, motivation and good team dynamics requires that you use a rapid and flexible response to meet clinician and user needs. For responsiveness, the ICCIS program chose to use a modified agile or waterfall methodology where requirements and solutions evolve by giving priority to individuals, customers' collaboration and change responsiveness. The design and build, rather than being a process where we consult with the clinicians, go away for 30 to 40 weeks and do the build and then come back and say, here it is, guys, has been broken up into 6 5-week cycles of build. Each cycle commences with a planning day on the first day. We then have 4 weeks of consolidated work in which the engine room maintains a daily ICU clinician contact, each week ending in a WebEx review, and at the end of cycle, we have in week 5, we have the demonstration of the cycle's product with the ICCIS working group and all of the subject matter experts. In the request for tender evaluation, 18 ICU clinicians comprised over 50% of the committee which was responsible for selecting the software solution on which ICCIS would be built. In the planning study phase, the functional requirements were determined during 5 workshops attended by 200 ICU healthcare workers. The ACI ICCIS work group provides clinical leadership for ICCIS with specialist issues on paediatric, neonatal, pharmacy, technical integration, reporting and research and data governance provided by the subject matter expert reference groups, or SMERGs. Since 2011, clinician engagement has increased throughout the program with a 400% increase in active clinician participation from the initial clinical evaluation group of 18 to the 70 currently involved in the design and build phase. The time commitment, dedication and motivation displayed by these professionals is phenomenal. A lot is being asked of them. The time horizon is long and monitoring and evaluating ongoing engagement and motivation is going to be important as we forge ahead. The success of the ICCIS program is contingent on active engagement of intensive care clinicians to deliver ICCIS on behalf of the clinicians for the benefit of patient care and clinician satisfaction. During the last 12 months of collaboration, clinicians have been involved in multiple meetings, and for some, this means 12 meetings a month. During the last 12 months, meetings have included monthly workgroup meetings, ad hoc SMERG meetings, training sessions, and in particular with the commencement of the design and build through this stage, weekly solution development reviews via WebEx. For anyone who's ever tried to keep getting clinicians to non-clinical meetings over a prolonged period of time, the continued attendance rate of over 70% for all our meetings highlights the exemplary clinical leadership of the workgroup chairs and the ACI, the engagement philosophy of the ICCIS program team, and it demonstrates the result of successful collaboration. So what works? A well-defined governance with broad representation, teams structured to support large-scale clinical engagement, an agreed process for decision-making and escalation, frequent, transparent communication, and team awareness, respect and trust. What challenges will we face going forward? Fatigue, sustaining motivation, making certain that communication is targeted and specific, reaching out beyond our ICU walls, and managing the competing priorities of most of our stakeholders. ICCIS will not only impact those providing care delivery within the four walls of the ICU and many different stakeholders, equates to the need for multiple communication approaches. Effective engagement with the broader New South Wales ICU community through proactive communications was demonstrated by an increase in viewer hits from 400 in the 12 months following the first release of our ICCIS video to 480 hits in the first 2 weeks of our second release of a video in 2014. Our communication approaches have included monthly program newsletters, many of which the content has been written by the ICCIS workgroup clinical chairs, regular email updates from our program director, the use of ACI, Intensive Care Services Network, and ICMU networks, the clinical, technical and executive forums such as the Senior Executive Forum for the Chief Executives and the Infrastructure Board for Chief Information Officers, unit meetings and in-services during site visits, the use of listservs such as ICU Connect, posters and brochures, conference presentations and ICCIS briefings and promotional videos such as this one.
We're here at a workshop today. We've got representatives from all facets of intensive care, pharmacy, medicine, nursing, and we're going to ensure that that process of involving the clinicians ensures a smooth transition with the ICCIS program.
Trying to stick to our vision of involving clinicians in real decision making for the project has been a challenge. It's been delightful to see real decisions being made.
What's impressed me is how concordant everybody has been in those decisions. I don't think we've had a single dissenting vote in any of the decisions that needed to be made.
There's going to be a lot of change coming through with this system, and being a clinician on the ground floor, understanding how the system's going to be used, I think it's very exciting, and I'm very proud and looking forward to being involved further in it, and also liaising with my colleagues out in the field there and letting them know we are actually making a system that should help them rather than hinder them.
Trying to bring all those good things that units already do together, find out what is the best and implement that with ICCIS. So at the end of the day, for the whole state, we're going to come out with the best that we can possibly get. I think that's really important from a patient safety point of view. The workshop's been a great example of how the ICCIS project is a new way of doing business, with clinician involvement, clinician engagement, and their enthusiasm for the project was obvious.
For more information on ICCIS, you can visit us on the New South Wales intranet, and I'm sorry that this is only going to be open for those who are working within New South Wales as healthcare workers. You can actually contact me directly, and I'm more than happy to put you on the ICCIS mailing list if you'd like to know and keep track of our future progress. In closing, I wish to express my appreciation to the multidisciplinary ICU clinicians of New South Wales for their continued support and engagement with ICCIS. Thank you.